in about a month or so, we'll be literally going to history because we're going to Edinburgh, the castle in Edinburgh. Another thing that I love about here is that for people under, I believe, 22, it's free buses around the country. You'll just be able to walk up there, and then there's a big gate that you go through. And the castle it is big, and it's really, really cool.
Welcome to Quadcast. I'm your host, Ina Effress. Today, I'm talking with Beckett Osher, a freshman at St. Andrews University in Scotland. He's studying German, medieval history, and philosophy, aiming for a major in German and history. This semester, his modules, in addition to German, are focused on the kingdoms of the Scots and on the Enlightenment in philosophy. Outside of his studies, he enjoys spending time with the friends that he's made at St. Andrews, playing chess, and exploring the town, which in itself feels something out of one of his history books. Welcome, Beckett.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you again.
It's great to see you too. Tell me about Scotland.
It is cold. That is the first thing that I would probably say, at least right now, and especially in the last few weeks. There's been a lot of rain and sleet. It's much different to California.
Is the town on the ocean? Where are you
Yeah, it
situated?
is. It is on the ocean. On the first pre-week of school, there's something here that they call freshers, where it's getting acquainted with the town and the university, I'd say. During that week on Sunday, there's a tradition at St. Andrews where freshmen and older classmen can as well, but it's tradition for freshmen specifically to wear their red dress gowns, robes, etc., which I did. And then you go on a walk onto the pier, which leads into the ocean. And it was cool. It was very windy, very cold. It's been a tradition for a long time.
Do you get a red dress gown when you enter the
Uh,
university?
Not for free, but you do get one. And based on which year you're in, there's a different cut of the robe.
It's like the whole university and town, they're steeped in tradition, which is,
Yeah.
I guess, one of the things that drew you to Scotland and St. Andrews in the first place, right?
And also, I'd say the university is the town, and the town is the university, which was another big plus for me when I applied and when I visited as well. Like, for example, I could be at Tesco or something getting groceries, and if I walk a block, my German module is right around the corner, and then I walk a bit more, and then I'm at the ocean, and then I walk
Wow.
back a bit. It's all connected within a really tight space, which I really enjoy.
From the pictures, it looks sprawling. What's it like to actually be on campus?
I'm really in a tight area in all of my classes because chemistry students, astronomy students, they have maybe going like 20 minutes there and back to get to their classes. But for me, everything is really, for language at least, everything is in the same building for me, which I really enjoy, just different classrooms. History is the one which is spread around a little bit, but it's still, even when it's spread out, it's still walkable. It's still a nice walk as well. And I get to go through the town every day when I do it.
I love that.
I will say that walking, even if I try not to, I'll probably be getting close to 10,000 steps a day. From my dorm to the town, if I walk, is about 25 minutes, which is like, it's, I think, 3,000, 4,000 steps by itself. And also, at least in some of the shops that I've been into, there are a lot of what seems to me to be student volunteers or trainees. There are local businesses.
Hmm.
There's also, I said Tesco before, that's a chain, a big business, but then there's like, I don't know the word, fisheries, I guess, like restaurants as well, just scattered around town.
And what are the townspeople like? Have you interacted with people outside of the school community much?
I'd say that's one thing which I wouldn't call it a negative, but it is noticeable that I haven't really had many interactions with everyday townspeople just because the town is the university.
Hmm.
So if I'm walking to my classes through the town, so are a lot of other kids, at least for a single street. So there's much less of a chance of interacting.
Yeah, I can see that. So tell me about when you'd applied to St. Andrews, was it one of the schools that you visited on your tour?
Yeah, it was, I believe, the third one that I visited in Scotland. it was one of the ones that I was pretty set on.
Was your visit there, your expectations from your visit, do you feel like your actual experience meets those expectations?
I'd say I didn't really know what to expect specifically just because when I went there in summer 2024,
Mhm,
the guided tour wasn't solely focused on the courses that I'm taking or the dorms that I'm living in. Still, I would say it gave a pretty good look into what an average student's life could look like in the town. They told us about the traditions, the buildings, important places in town. So I still say that it did leave an impression on me.
and how is your German course going?
The second semester just started last week. First semester, I really did enjoy it. There were the way that it works in St. Andrews, at least, is for German. I don't know if it's for the other languages. I would assume so, but it's split into tutorials based on. There's one for oral speaking, one on writing, one on literature and culture, one on grammar, and then there's one just based lecture. So that's 5 classes worth versus just going for an hour of German and it's doing everything, which I really enjoy the way that that's structured because I'm focusing on a part of the language I'm trying to learn for
Mhm,
a class at a time and doing work solely on that versus getting just a lot of information thrown at me. And
mhm.
then this semester, it's only been about a week and a half now, but it's much more rigorous, but it's a challenge that I'm not going to shy away from.
You have a relationship to the German language through your family.
Mainly through my grandfather.
Mhm,
So that's also been something that I'm really glad that I still hold. Because, for example, after my first week, when I was worrying about if I'd be able to catch up to all the others who'd been taking it so much longer than me, I was able to call my grandfather and talk to him and practice with him like we always did.
and so why German and history? Why that combination for you? What excites you about that?
Well, I'll say that I never, before the last few years, I never really expected to do anything else other than history, which
Mhm.
was something that's been, for me, my calling would be a word since I was really little. And then I'd say as I entered high school, I started practicing German, talking to my grandfather when I visited him in New York. And then I guess it just kind of snowballed from there because I started to enjoy the difficulties of it and seeing the patterns of the language and how everything is structured, which was one thing which I still find really enjoyable. And
Mhm.
for me, just the way that it sounds as well. But that's personal to me. And then when I started looking at my grandfather's his works more because he's a translator, which is something that seemed really interesting to me as something to do. And then I applied for it. And then history, I always wanted to do history. I still feel the same way. Having St. Andrews there, which was somewhere willing that because of the way that their degrees are structured, where by next year I'll be able to do that and just focus solely on those 2 modules. That was something that to me was just perfect in a way.
History's always been really meaningful to you and felt like a calling actually since you were really young. You were always drawn to it, whether you were building ancient cities in Minecraft or listening to podcasts in your room. You started doing
Yeah,
that
for
really early.
I mean, I can't say with 100% accuracy what my 6-year-old self was thinking at the time. Because when I say history, I can't really specify just a single era in history because my interest has always been drawn to, oh, here, and then 100 years later, and then 100 years
Mhm,
back, and then us in this day and age trying to understand those people, and then what we can use that understanding for, and just how
mhm.
there's still so much to be uncovered. And I just want to keep looking into it.
When you were little, your grandfather used to read to you from his copy of King Arthur.
Yeah, that was I forget exactly how old I was, but when I was little, the romanticism of that time period is something which I still really enjoy, even if it's not completely accurate looking back on the period through the lens of a fable like King Arthur.
Mhm.
It's it was something which helped a younger me be able to look into such a complex time.
There's a fable-like quality to studying history from different, like, perspectives and angles because depending on whose perspective you're studying from, whether it's the peasants or the royals.
Yeah, that's something that I really enjoy doing and what we're doing right now, really. In our unit, we're going to be looking through sources from, for example, monks versus a king or somebody lower in the social status. And especially because when it comes to history from this long ago, it's much, much more difficult to find sources from, as you said, peasants versus
Hmm.
a king, because that's what our understanding of the time period is normally based on, the
Hmm.
chronicles of these important people and their cults of
Right.
personality.
And who were literate, or who had people
Yeah.
who were literate around them.
So trying to dig and find these sources that are showing a different light of the time period is
Mm.
really intriguing to me.
At St. Andrews in the history department, besides textbooks, what kind of source material do the professors use in class so far?
Really, we've been looking through reading lists, so sources from around the world in the last semester. At one point, we were looking at a source from, like, a primary source around Attila the Hun and meeting with Roman envoys. And then a few weeks later, we were looking at Islamic control over Iberian Peninsula. But we're
Mm.
looking at primary sources, letters, and analyzing them. In about a month or so, we'll be literally going to history because we're going to be going to Edinburgh, the castle in Edinburgh, which is going to be such a great opportunity.
How do you get to the castle? Is there public transportation?
Well, another thing that I love about here is that for people under, I believe, 22, it's free buses around the country. You'll just be able to walk up there, and then there's a big gate that you go through. And the castle it is big, and it's really, really cool. One thing that stuck to me was that I think it was 1 o'clock every Saturday or so, they fired a cannon from where it was back then, however many years ago, which seeing that again would be pretty cool. And just
Yeah.
being with all of these historical artifacts again.
If you wanted to visit other countries from St. Andrews, have you done that yet?
I probably will over spring break. So, first week of March, I might go to Milan, which would be really nice.
Will you go with friends?
Possibly, I might visit like family there, extended family.
What's it like being an international student? It's a fairly international community at St. Andrews.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of international students. There's people from everywhere there. But at the same time, there are obviously locals or Scots. So there's definitely a mix. It's not like I'm worried because I'm international, I don't fit in. I've never really had that thought.
Your closest friends, like your inner circle, when you hang out on the weekends, is it in a dorm or a suite?
Yeah, mainly in their dorm. In mine, I have a roommate. They have flatmates, but not someone else in their room. So I mainly am at their dorm or flat.
And did you meet them in a history or German class?
My closest friends, one of them is taking every single class with me, which is pretty funny. To every single module and every single slot in the timetable, I'm pretty sure, just completely coincidentally.
When you call your grandfather about German studies, I bet he's super proud that everything he taught you and the times that you spent together have had such an influence on you as you
I hope
pursue your
so.
studies. Your family has this amazing literary legacy. Is that something that you talked about or heard about growing up in your home? Your name is Beckett.
I am named after Samuel Beckett, but I can't really remember. I know that my grandpa, we talked about literature, we talked about books, obviously, but I can't
Mhm,
remember if we were reading his dad's books or some of
mhm.
his earlier works. I know it definitely wasn't something that wasn't talked about.
Do you feel like that legacy has rubbed off on you? Even though you're not, studying literature, history is your main focus. I also know that you're a really talented writer.
I would say that with history, you can't be able to do history without some sort of competence in writing. I mean,
Mhm,
especially if you're writing an argument, an essay, if you don't know how to write in general or write
mhm.
well, it's never going to be as good. I'd say that.
It's that really intense focus and thought process. History is not just about studying facts. It's the stories, like you said. It's people's stories and people's lives and the fableness that goes into
Yeah.
it. I think that's something really related to the literary mind.
And I'd say it's also adding on to that, it's not just facts, and that I would say that, especially with what we've been doing, it's that we're looking at their lives or the places and not looking at it through the lens of these are the facts. Analyze those facts. It's here's the information. What do you believe from it? Especially with essays, which is something I really appreciate.
Any advice to students in the States who want to apply to St. Andrews or other schools abroad in Scotland and the UK? Anything that you didn't expect that took you by surprise?
I mean, the first thing I'd say is bring an extra pair of warm clothes. That's what I'd say by default. But
Yeah,
academic wise,
that's good advice.
academic wise,
Or
think
even like socially or food. How's the food, by the way?
I'll say that I do miss some of the food from back in LA. I would kill for some In and Out, but the I mean, I'm catered. The food is fine, but academic wise, I'd say really when they get, at least for St. Andrews, there's core readings and then there's optional readings. I'd say do above the bare minimum if you
Mhm.
really want to get in tune with the subject or go above and beyond. You shouldn't just skim the core when it comes to especially history.
Are you able to form any kind of relationship with the professors there, or are the class sizes really big? How's the interaction?
Well, first of all, a few of the teachers did change into the next semester. I still think that I really did enjoy interacting with the teachers from last semester, and some did carry over. And I'd say the class sizes, it's small enough to where I felt that if I needed the teacher to hear my voice, I would say that was able to happen. And again, the town is the uni. I'm never really needing to go too far. Also, I'd say that because of the class sizes not being tiny but being small enough, there's definitely opportunities to make friends and to
Mhm.
get to know more than just a few people.
Can you also talk a little bit about the application process, if you remember
Mm.
anything about it? Because that
Uh,
had some surprises in it, right?
Yeah, UCAS applying as an international student into the United Kingdom. It was definitely tricky. I had to get in contact with details about grades. I believe it was also syllabi for my classes.
Well, one of the tricky things was you had these 2 courses that you were pursuing, German and
Yeah,
history. So you had to squeeze all of that into one essay, and you had to explain in one essay kind
yeah.
of the origin story for both and the pursuit of both.
And why both of them matter to me. And I had to do that in one essay, which was definitely not the easiest thing in the world.
A lot of students in the US don't understand that the process is so different.
Advice for students applying overseas from the US is that you can never expect something like this to go completely smoothly. Get on top of it.
I love the pictures that you send me of the town. On the weekends, are you bundling up and walking around?
It's never really the same. Depends on work that I have to do over the week. If it's swarming down rain, or
Does it
the
rain often?
temperature. It has since I've gotten back. It's been raining consistently every day, and it's
Mhm,
been 30 degrees, and the feels like has been like some from 15 to 18 with
mhm,
heavy wind every day and sleet. Which is why I'm very glad that they have the Young Scots, which is the bus pass for free buses around the country. So that's been a
mhm.
lifesaver at least the last 2 weeks. But when it's not terrible weather, I'll probably walk into town, get a bite to eat, probably go walk around they call it the sands, which is at the area by the ocean. Maybe meet my friends and also the ruins. There's
Mhm.
a castle ruins.
Do you ever study in a library? Like, is there like a
Yeah,
study
yeah.
spot? What's the
Which
library
is
called?
it's about 50 steps from my history lectures, which is
Oh, that's
really nice.
awesome. Yeah.
It's cozy. I'd say I wish it was bigger. Everybody wants to go to the library. Even so, it's never impossible to find a seat.
Do you go with your group to the library?
Depends if we have a mutual thing that we're working on. But I'll go to the library by myself, just relax, have my AirPods in.
Do I remember that you have a twin?
Yes, you do.
So, and where
Uh,
is your twin? In the States or
yeah.
abroad?
She is back in LA, which is hard because same with my parents, 8 hours as a time difference
Yeah.
means that it's definitely more difficult to get in contact with them.
It's not the easiest
Yeah,
thing to do to fly to
yeah,
Scotland, right?
the flight is always rough for me, but worth it.
I remember one time you told me you had sushi with your grandfather.
I'm pretty sure when I first started thinking about doing German, I haven't had sushi since being here.
Are there any places like that in town? Like, what kind of
Yeah,
cuisine can you get?
Greg's, love that. 5 pound meal
Greg's?
deal. Yep,
Oh,
amazing.
that's
Uh,
cool. What do you
yeah,
get with
student
that?
a sausage roll, a ham and cheese toasty, and a drink for 5 pounds. Love that.
Love it.
Um, but beyond student food, there's like a noodle shop. There's at least two really good ones I know of for fish because it's so close by the ocean that it's always so fresh. And there's just a seafood place as well, which is next to the post grad library and across from my history lectures if I wanted to do
Hmm.
that because it's all so connected.
Well, this is really wonderful. It's just so great to see you, and I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. It's good to see you again as well.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your life in Scotland and at St. Andrews and all of these wonderful insights.